All right, everyone, I am back and we're going to finish this up. Chapter 5. Know that additives, powders, and tablets exist. There is no additive, tablet, or powder that replaces the need for proper procedure. There is no shortcuts in cleaning. Know that most pedicure spas hold 5 gallons of water. Check with the manufacturer and be sure to use the correct amount of disinfectant. Also be sure that you're using a disinfectant that is appropriate for the pedicure spa. Look at the little conversion chart, and when in doubt, you can Google it on your iPhone. Know that the dispensary is where you keep all your ingredients. It must be clean, orderly, and well organized. You should keep an MSDS for all products in the salon. Know that it's very important to properly handle single-use supplies according to OSHA standards. Know that proper hand washing is one of the most important actions you can take. Also, you should never, and this is common sense, place a client's feet in water that contains a disinfectant. If you put their feet in that very high pH solution, you're going to burn the heck out of their feet and you get a lawsuit. Follow the rules for all the tools and supplies. If you cannot disinfect your tools or supplies, they must be discarded. Don't try to disinfect a cotton ball and reuse it. That ain't going to happen. When washing hands, use liquid soaps in a pump container. Bar soaps can actually grow bacteria, and a lot of people don't know that. Bacteria can grow on the surface and you can spread it that way. That's why having a pump or even like a sensor one is very important to have. It's important to take the time to conduct a thorough scalp and hair analysis that will enable you to determine whether a client has any open wounds or abrasions. If the client does have an open wound or abrasion, do not perform services of any kind up for the client. Know that there are waterless hand sanitizers. Antiseptics are chemical germicides formulated for use on the skin and are registered and regulated by the FDA. Antiseptics can contain either alcohol or benzoyl chloride, which is less drying to the skin than alcohol. Neither type of antiseptic can clean the hands of debris and dirt, and that's why it's best to first wash the hands and then use them if you so choose. They are ineffective for disinfecting instruments. Know that if you don't wash your hands, you can risk spreading an infection to someone. That's why for the state board, the practical, it's important to mock sanitize. Know that there are universal precautions that are guidelines that are published by OSHA. They help to regulate everything that happens, such as we always assume that someone has a disease, and that's why we always use proper cleaning procedures. Know that asymptomatic means that you have a certain condition, such as HIV, hepatitis, bacterial diseases, but you're not spreading it or showing that you're spreading it, but you're not showing the symptoms. Know that since cosmetologists work with an array of sharp implements and tools, cutting yourself is a very real possibility. That's why it's always important to be mindful of that, not to get careless. This is why I always tell my students, do not text while trying to cut hair, because you'll be going like this and your fingers flying off. Know that there's a procedure in the book for exposure incident. That's when you come into contact with blood. If you accidentally cut your client or you see your client's bleeding, like let's say they have a nosebleed or they trip, they cut themselves, you stop the service. So if you're cutting their hair, you stop cutting their hair. You go over there, you wear gloves first, protect yourself. You first then give the client something to apply pressure, such as a gauze, a cotton ball. When the bleeding is stopped, the client, this is what I do. Even though the book tells you this is what I tell the client. I give them the tools to clean themselves. They clean, they toss it in a bag, I have them wash their hands. You have your gloves on, you're protecting it. It is not your job to wound clean a client. What it is your job is to clean around it. The client should bandage their wound. You clean and disinfect the workstation using an EPA disinfectant that is registered for cleaning bloods or body fluid. Discard single-use contaminated items. Place them in a red biohazard bag if you have one, or a red marker. Stuff like shears or combs, if they get blood on them, make sure you clean them with an approved disinfectant and then you submerge them properly to kill any pathogen. EPA registered disinfectant solution designed for cleaning blood or body fluids, or 10% bleach solution. That is what you can use and submerge for at least 10 minutes or for the time recommended by the manufacturer. It's important to properly throw your gloves away. Read that section. You should never attempt to clean or disinfect any tool or implement in your workstation. Keep a designated area in the salon. Know that it's important not only for the hygiene, but it reflects a certain salon image, like the scenario I gave in my first example. When you walk in the salon, you don't want to be covered in dust, covered in hair. You don't want to have a stylist go to comb your hair or brush your hair and the brush is loaded with hair. Know that you have every right to leave the salon as a consumer if you're concerned it's not being kept up to standards. And you have a professional responsibility. And that about wraps it up for this chapter. Read the bullets on the professional salon image and your responsibility. Know that your license is always at risk, and that is why it is important for you to always perform the best you can while also being legal and making sure to follow proper protocol. Read the proper procedures for disinfecting, because that will be on your test. That is on the My Lady test online. You can test yourself to check. Make sure you're watching Studio Luma if you're doing that, because that will also cover some of the scenarios. And it helps prepare you for the real world, just in case you enter a blood spill incident or you see a client that potentially has a contagious disease. So I'm sorry if this is a very long chapter. I'm hoping the rest will be a lot easier. I know the second biggest is like the haircutting one and anatomy, but I'm going to shrink the anatomy up because I'm not going to go over all the muscles. You can read that on yourself. The next chapter will be chapter 6, general anatomy and physiology, which I know a lot of people dread. I find it fascinating. Although when I was in cosmetology school, I was nervous because I felt like I was going to be awful at this. It just gives you the basic introduction to the cells, the body systems that we work with, because it helps us know how to be better consumers as professionals and how we can also educate our clients, and it can help us be better at our job if we're doing services such as facials and scalp massage. So, chapter 6 coming up next. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video series. I try to make it interesting, but I know there is a lot in this chapter, so it was a little dry, and I do apologize for that, but I hope my examples helped you guys. And for those of you that are taking your state board exam, best of luck on it. I'm going to try to get all of these chapters done, hopefully in the coming weeks. I took a bit of a break, but I'm now back to finish this off.